Citizens will be on their best behavior because we are constantly recording and reporting on everything that's going on. That's not a quote from 1984. This isn't from some dystopian fiction. That's Larry Ellison in September of 2024 on the record at an investor meeting. Fifth richest dude on the planet, co-founder of Oracle, Trump superfan and megadonor. And as of January 2026, this is the guy who controls the data infrastructure for 170 million Americans who can't stop scrolling. Here's the thing nobody's talking about, though. For 5 years, we were told TikTok was dangerous because China might spy on us. Congress held hearings, states banned it on government phones. There was a whole law passed. And then they handed it to this guy. The guy who fantasizes out loud to his investors about AI watching citizens 24/7 to keep them on their best behavior. Let me introduce you to possibly the worst billionaire you've never heard of. So, Larry Ellison is what happens when you give a guy with main character syndrome $200 billion and zero accountability. He owns 98% of Lanai, Hawaii. Not a house on Lanai, the whole island. He bought the whole island for $300 million because he thought it would be fun. He's got a yacht collection, a fighter jet, multiple estates, the usual billionaire stuff. But here's where it gets super interesting. In February of 2020, he hosts a 6-figure per person fundraiser for Trump at his house in California. Tickets started at $100,000. In November of 2020, he's on a phone call, documented in court filings, with Trump allies, strategizing how to contest the election results. Also on that call, Sean Hannity, Lindsey Graham, whole crew. 2021 to 24, he dumps $30 million into Republican super PACs, making him the 11th biggest megadonor in America. His former CEO at Oracle, she served on Trump's first transition team, gave $1 million to the Trump super PAC in 2024. There's Larry standing next to Trump at the White House, announcing some $500 billion AI deal called Stargate. Trump's quote about him, Larry Ellison is one of them. He's involved. He's a great guy. I'd like Larry to buy TikTok. And wouldn't you know it, Larry got TikTok. Oracle now owns 15% of TikTok's U.S. operations. But the real kicker, they control the data security, the algorithm retraining, the whole surveillance apparatus. As one Trump advisor anonymously called Ellison the shadow president of the United States. And I have no idea if that is true. But I do know that the guy who thinks citizens should be constantly recorded to stay on their best behavior now has access to the behavioral data and location data of 170 million Americans. And nobody seems to think that's weird. So let's talk about what Larry Ellison actually believes, not what PR people say he believes, what he said on camera to investors. In September of 2024, at an Oracle financial analyst meeting, quote on screen, building word by word, we're going to have supervision. Every police officer is going to be supervised at all times. And if there is a problem, AI will report that problem and report it to the appropriate person. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. And then right after that, citizens will also be on their best behavior because we are constantly recording and reporting on everything that's going on. This isn't an out of context clip. This is a very rich, influential billionaire in 2024 telling investors his vision for a society where AI monitors citizens and the police 24/7 to ensure good behavior. George Orwell wrote 1984 as a warning. Larry Ellison took it as a business plan. And he's not being vague about it. He's described the entire system in detail. Police body cameras, they never turn off, even during bathroom breaks. Security cameras should be feeding real-time video into AI analysis. Doorbell cameras and dash cams all network together, and drones monitoring from above. All of it streaming directly into Oracle data centers. AI flagging problems and reporting to appropriate persons. Fortune actually compared it to China's social credit system. TechCrunch called it dystopian, 404 Media pointed out that most of what he described does already exist. Now, with all of that context, think about what TikTok actually collects on you. So, this is TikTok's privacy policy, the one 170 million Americans have clicked accept on without ever reading. So let's read it together. Under device information, we collect keystroke patterns or rhythms. I'll say that again, keystroke patterns or rhythms. That's in their privacy policy right now. So look, in 2022, security researcher Felix Krause reverse engineered TikTok's iOS app. What he found, TikTok's in-app browser, the thing that opens when you click on any link or do any search inside the app, it injects JavaScript code into every single website you visit. That code subscribes to every keystroke, every tap, and every page navigation. His exact words, this could include passwords, credit card information, other sensitive user data. From a technical perspective, this is the equivalent of having a keylogger on third-party websites. TikTok's response was that JavaScript code is only used for debugging, troubleshooting, and performance monitoring. So we built a way to monitor every keystroke, but trust us, we're not going to turn it on. But I have seen nothing that says that Oracle audited or removed this capability. In fact, it is still within their terms of service today. Has anyone actually verified that the keystroke logging infrastructure that existed under Chinese ownership has been changed or disabled by the American ownership? Because there's zero evidence that anything has changed. Under biometric data, we may collect biometric identifiers and biometric information such as face prints and voice prints. Your voice, your face, permanent identifiers that you can never change. TikTok paid a $92 million penalty to settle a class action lawsuit in Illinois over collecting this data without consent. Then they just updated their privacy policy to say they'd collect it anyway. And as of January 2026, when the new ownership with Mr. Ellison took over, they added precise GPS location. Previously, they said they did not collect this from U.S. users. Citizenship and immigration status, religious beliefs, gender identity, race, health or medical data, transgender or non-binary status. So just to recap, the guy who wants constant recording to keep citizens on their best behavior now has access to your keystroke patterns, your face geometry, your voice print, your precise location at all times, your immigration status, your religion, your gender, your race, your health, and what you watch 95 minutes a day. Put on the bright side, at least it's not China, right? Let me show you the scale of what we're talking about here. TikTok has 170 million monthly active users in the United States, 82 million active daily users. On average, users average 95 minutes per day across 19 separate app opens. Average session length, right around 10 minutes and 51 seconds. So if you do some rough math, 170 million users across 54 minutes a day turns into 9 billion minutes of surveillance data daily. That's 153 million hours of behavioral profiling every single day that Oracle is doing. Annually, it's 2.5 billion hours of watch history, engagement patterns, attention metrics, scroll behavior, and psychological profiling. From 19 daily check-ins per user, that's 3.23 billion app sessions every day where they can collect your device data, your location, your keystroke, any biometric updates or behavioral signals. In 1984, the telescreen was mandatory. Big Brother had to force people to watch it. TikTok, everybody's there voluntarily. They're opening it 19 times a day, and people are staring at it for almost 2 hours. And unlike the telescreen, TikTok doesn't just watch you. It learns about you. It knows what makes you stop scrolling. It knows what makes you angry. It knows what makes you laugh. And it knows your insecurities based on what wellness content you've watched. It knows your relationship status. It knows your politics. And this is the most sophisticated behavioral surveillance apparatus ever built. And it just changed ownership from a Chinese company to a Trump megadonor who openly fantasizes about using it to monitor citizens for good behavior. But at least we fixed that whole TikTok problem, right? So, something super interesting here. January 22nd, the deal was finalized. TikTok was officially under new ownership. From the 25th and the 26th, users reported a huge amount of widespread technical failures. On the 26th, users started reporting that political content, specifically that related to Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and Milwaukee and the ICE raids, were being suppressed. California State Senator Scott Weiner posts a video about suing ICE agents. 0 views. Even though he watched it himself, NPR and CNBC independently confirmed that users can't send the word Epstein in direct messages. Error message. This may be in violation of our community guidelines. TikTok's explanation: we don't have rules against sharing the name Epstein in direct messages and are investigating why some users are experiencing this. It's interesting timing for this bug to happen, specifically on that name. Their official explanation was that there was a major infrastructure issue triggered by a power outage. Listen, there's no way to directly say that magically overnight, as soon as TikTok changed hands into that of a Trump megadonor, that immediately political content got suppressed. But what I'm saying is, within the app, the capability exists. The infrastructure for content manipulation is there as well. The new owner has stated on the record that he wants AI monitoring citizens for good behavior. And there were documented suppression incidents within 72 hours of the ownership transfer. Never happened before. If that doesn't warrant some sort of investigation, what does? Cue Gavin Newsom. California announced an investigation on January 26th. But the thing is, they're only looking at political censorship. They should be looking at the entire apparatus: the keystroke logging, the biometric collection, behavioral surveillance. Who has access to that data now? What are they doing with it? Because the infrastructure did not change. The only thing did was the flag flying over who owned it. And I know a lot of people are sitting there thinking, like, I don't really care. I just like to watch dancing cat videos. Honestly, totally fair. But the part that is super important to understand, the concern was never really about China. Not for the people who actually really understand this stuff. The concern was about a surveillance app with no meaningful oversight, capable of behavioral manipulation and controlled by entities that do not have the public's best interests at heart. That concern still exists. Now, instead of answering to ByteDance or Beijing, that apparatus answers to a billionaire who hosted multiple Trump fundraisers, helped strategize the 2020 election, built a database for Project 2025, and describes his vision for society as one where constant recording keeps citizens on their best behavior. To quote him, citizens will be on their best behavior because we are constantly recording and reporting on everything that's going on. It's not a leak. It's not a misquote. It's what he believes. It's the vision for him and his company's growth. And that who is now in control of your data. So if any of this bothers you, number one, never use TikTok's in-app browser. Copy any links, open them in Safari or Chrome. Check your TikTok permissions right now. Turn off location, turn off microphone access when you're not recording. If you're in California, you can file a CCPA request asking exactly what data TikTok has collected on you. They have 45 days to respond. The narrative will be that TikTok is safer now because it's American owned. And unfortunately, that's a lie. The surveillance machine is identical. The owner just has different politics. All of the source documentation, of course, is below. And if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe.